Earlier this morning, a Fox 5 investigation looked at the type of electromagnetic waves that are in your home. We also tested metro cars and found they have some of the strongest magnetic fields. But what about radioactive emissions in the workplace? Fox 5's Todd Wallace is live in the electrical room of our building for the test. Hello, Todd.
How you doing, Laura? Every office building in America has one of these. We're talking about the main electric room, and you may recognize it by the danger sign that's posted on the front of the door. Most people would think, hey, danger must be for the electricity. But there's also another dangerous element that exists in a main electric room, such as this one here in our Fox 5 studios. And joining us now to talk about that is Lou Vitale, who is the president and chief engineer for Viatech. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about electromagnetic fields this morning.
Right.
And also the problems that exist with that. And these types of machines here behind us emit basically a tremendous amount of electromagnetic fields, can potentially be very dangerous.
Yes, they can be. Generally what you have in the switchgear rooms is that you have the transformer outside the building or inside the building. And in the back here you have a secondary feeder bringing all the power into the building. Generally the magnetic fields around here are quite high. They can, right now yours are about 200 to 400 milligauss. They can be up to 1,000 easily coming into the building. Then the electric power is distributed into these huge switches. They're similar to like a breaker box in your house. And right now over here we're about 800, went up to 800.
Now let's talk about the reading there. This device here, which gives a reading of this electromagnetic wave that's coming forward.
This measures three axes, X, Y, and Z magnetic fields, takes the root mean squared number. And this is the instrument used throughout the industry to determine whether or not the magnetic fields are high or low.
Okay.
So it's called a Gauss meter. It measures magnetic flux density. This is actually the magnetic field permeating through space. So here we have a relatively, 400 milligauss, 500. They generally go up to 800. Some switch gears are 1,200.
What's safe?
Safe, there's a standard. There's a national standard. The American Conference of Industrial Hygienists says 1,000 milligauss if you have a cardiac pacemaker, 5 Gauss, which is 5,000 milligauss if you're in a normal space. Some international standards are 1,000 milligauss. We recommend 10 milligauss, or less for 12-hour 8 to 12-hour exposure. Unfortunately, these higher standards are extremely high, and I have seen many examples of injurious effect.
And I was going to say that a lot of times people's offices may be next to or across from a main electric room such as this, and that's not necessarily a good thing. People may normally think, hey, a concrete wall may actually separate me from these electromagnetic fields or waves, but that, you're telling me, is not something sufficient to keep the waves from passing in and out.
No, the magnetic fields will permeate through everything except low carbon steel plates and thick aluminum or copper plates. We put magnetic shielding systems in. Many of the buildings in Washington we have shielded in New York City and all around the country. Unfortunately, the people above or to left or right of a switchgear room can be exposed between 50 to up to 1,000 to 2,000 milligauss, extraordinarily high.
About 30 seconds left. What are the dangers of this?
Well, what I normally see is that in many other areas that usually there's one person in that room, if they've been there more than 8 to 10 years, that generally has some sort of leukemia or cancer or breast cancer.
You've seen that consistently?
Unfortunately, consistently. Almost one per population, and it's quite surprising. Most of the research, unfortunately, focused on the lower emissions that you get, like 10 milligauss or one in, next to transmission lines.
Okay. Lou Vitale, thanks for joining us this morning. Lou will also be joining us in the next hour when we'll be talking about appliances in the average workplaces. We're talking about photocopy machines, cell phones, even computer screens. We'll have much more coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. As for now, we'll send it back to you, Rock.
Okay, thank you so much, Todd.